home dog in Chicago, week 1. And I think there's going to be a couple upsets this weekend. I think the Texans are a prime dog at home, a sneaky dog against the Colts. But everybody writing off the Bears, and George Kittle's got this injury with the groin. Makes things a little more difficult for Trey Lance Sunday.
First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa to whatever you celebrate, okay? Today is the day. So, yes, good morning, gentlemen. Bonte, I'm totally with you. We need less dogs to switch the quote up. We don't need more dogs. We need less dogs because the spreads this week are all based on clouds. Mm-hmm. We think we know. We don't know a damn thing. We've all got these teams pegged as, well, they are who they were in February, but they're not. They never are. And there's data to suggest that. The number we were playing with last week, every year for 32 consecutive years, at least 4 teams make the playoffs that did not make the playoffs the year before, which means 4 of these teams that were in the playoffs last year, who we've all decided are still good, at least 4 of them are not even playoff teams. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
We don't know. Now, yes, the 49ers are more talented than the Bears, but sure, Kittle, home field, rain, 2 22-year-old quarterbacks.
Overthinking.
Man, no, like... Yes, the 49ers are better. Yes, they could win by 20.
Bears were leading that game last year, 16-15, midway through the third quarter, and then Debo ripped off the long wide receiver screen.
Here's all I know.
All that being said, though, if you're a championship contender, you go handle your business.
No doubt.
Like it does, and style points don't matter for me. Like I know it's almost 2 different scoreboards. We're talking about the spread, and that's one thing.
Just win the damn game.
I can see that number as being a little high. Like, would it surprise you if the Niners win 16-10 or 19-13?
No.
23-16.
I think almost nothing would surprise me this week.
But you got to win.
Well, hold on, though, because they were in the NFC title game with a lead in the fourth quarter last year, and they spent the whole first half of the year messing around. It's one game. It's 1 week. I promise you this year the 49ers at least one time will have a game where Monday morning you go, what the hell was that? Who knows? Maybe it's this weekend.
They need it to not be week 1, though.
That would be good.
Not with this fan base. Not right now.
I'll promise you this. Monday morning you will come in at least 3 games. You're like, wow. I didn't see that coming.
To your point, too.
I promise you.
I did the the NFL playoff predictor thing where you can choose every game and they actually keep a tally on it, whatever. And when you look at the standings afterwards, it's like, okay, yeah, that team's not going 15-2. Like, that's not going to happen somehow. Then you go back and you're like, well, I can't see a loss because they seem like the better team on paper right now. But you never know what's going to happen in an NFL season, and that's why it's the best. That's why I can't wait for everything that's going to happen on Sunday. But I'm just saying it with my chest, Willard.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
You are saying it with your chest.
49ers Bears,
also
baby.
Pick the Bills to blow out the Rams tonight.
I didn't pick them, Bonte. I gave you the oh, good Lord, what's the word I'm talking about? I gave you the stipulation that, look, I think it could happen, but it's probably going to be a close game.
Live dog tonight.
Rams.
Live dog. I mean a live dog. All 3 primetime games this week have home dogs.
I just don't like...
You're crazy.
You're
crazy if you think that the favorites are winning all 3 of those games. I'm just telling you right now.
Primetime games, too, because everybody's chasing money at the end. And
your Bills, Bucks, Broncos parlay, I'm out.
Yeah, that's silly. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Because I do think Dallas, even though I think Dallas is going to struggle this week.
I think Dallas is going to win
this week. Yeah.
I think Dallas is going to win that game.
Should have won the game last year when they played the Buccaneers in the season opener. But Bills are getting a lot of hype, and they deserve it. They're a loaded team. But the Rams are the champs. But no Whitworth. No Odell Beckham Jr., no Von Miller on the other side. He was huge for them.
And the Rams, to your point, what you said earlier, the Rams messed around at times last year. And we're behind in some games they had to win. And
didn't win a game in November.
So the Bills. The Bills, who was it? They lost. They got blown out by the Jags last year.
Oh, they got beat by the Jags. They lost. They lost the season opener to Pittsburgh at home.
Yeah, so does this apply? I don't know, but Kyle found this for me yesterday. They've been doing the Thursday night opener thing for 20 years. And the home team's record is 16-4. And one of the home losses was when they gave that home game to the Bears as the NFL anniversary, not because they were good. So when it's the good team, either the Super Bowl champ.
Was that in Chicago or Green Bay?
In Chicago.
It was in Chicago.
It was in
Green Bay
Chicago.
won 10-3.
Right.
It was
So-
a really ugly
that's
game.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I remember that.
2019?
I was thinking of the Sunday night game with Khalil Mack making his debut. No, you're right.
So the other 19 games
that was an
where it
ugly
was
game.
like the Super Bowl winner
An Aaron
or the
Rodgers
Super Bowl,
special.
whatever it was, the other 19, the home
Percocet
team has
special.
won 16 of them. And it's always a good team that they bring in.
Right.
And we're just acting like the Rams. Oh, they lost, that Stafford's arm. They're fine. They're fine.
Don't sleep on Noteboom. Noteboom's a guy filling in for Whitworth.
You said Odell Beckham's gone?
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson's better.
Allen Robinson's
Allen
good.
Robinson's better.
I'm so happy for Allen
Totally.
Robinson, though.
I'm
I
happy
know
for my fantasy
we're not
team
supposed to be
because
happy.
I got him in the 7th round.
I get we're not supposed to be happy for the Rams or whatever, but after you've played with the likes of Blake Bortles,
He's never had a quarterback.
Mitch Trubisky,
He's never had one.
Nick Foles, it's like
He's never had one.
at least you have one now.
Yeah. he's
By the
got
way,
one.
you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and AC1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And don't forget that you can also watch us every day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. So Niner fans will be watching this game very closely.
We'll watch all the games.
All the games closely, but specifically this one.
Like,
though. Yeah,
right.
but the Rams, no one would have it in the NFC Championship game. And if the Rams go out there and win that game, in a weird way, it's going to add even more intensity for Niners fans for Sunday against Chicago with all the Trey Lance dynamics and the Jimmy dynamics, and maybe Kittle doesn't play. Week 1's going to be very interesting for the red and gold, especially with that captain gate, which is not a big deal at all to me.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
Looking at this game, though, if you take the 49ers offense out of it even, to me, the 49ers defensive line should be able to, I look at this game and I think the Bears may struggle to score a touchdown.
You'd think.
And that should set the tone where if the offense is janky, and look, I know Justin Fields played well against them last year, and quarterbacks that can move give the 49ers problems historically, but there's just so much depth, I think, in terms of not just defensive line depth, but pass rushing depth that hasn't really been in the fold even these last couple of years, to where I think that's where you force more turnovers. I mean, the secondary without Jimmy Ward, that's problematic, but they're better in the secondary, I think, in terms of coverage on paper. So I think this is, in some ways, the perfect opponent for the Niners.
If I give you Bears touchdowns over under 1.5,
I'd probably go under.
me too.
Well, if I'm sticking with the 34-13, I am going under. Yeah.
Under.
Well, maybe
Under.
one with a missed extra point. I don't know.
Make it one early. I worry about the garbage time touchdown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
That's a tough bet. I may just lay off of that one.
I'm confident though that enough that it probably won't be a blowout.
Right.
So maybe that garbage time touchdown doesn't happen.
Right. A lot of field goals in this one.
I got it for under 20 points, though. I think they keep the Bears under 20
Yeah, I
points.
can see that. I
And-
can see
and
that.
As long as they do that, I'm confident they win the game.
Yeah, captain game. By the way, I couldn't name the 6 captains from last year. Couldn't name the 6 captains from 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Well,
Hey,
you
Michael Irvin.
can name 5 of them because they were captains last
So,
year.
well,
Guys,
Kyle
yeah,
Shanahan
yeah.
thought Debo was a captain. It shows you how much he pays attention. Oh, wait, no Debo. No Debo. But,
Right.
that's more of an indictment on Debo. If anything, if people were going to be outraged or look at the situation and say, oh, wow, Debo's not a captain, I would look at that.
It's interesting. You know,
That
maybe,
would make sense to me, though.
Right.
Well, but I mean, you think about what we don't ever see them in the offseason, but you think about what they go through. They go through OTAs. They meet up in Nashville for Kittle camp or whatever they're going to.
It's tight end university.
Whatever they're going to do, and that's bonding and team building and all of that. And Debo was out.
Yeah.
Debo was out for all of that. So does that drop him down a little bit? JD, you answer this first though, and then I'll go. Yeah, Captain Gate. Go ahead.
It just stunned me. Like it did. I don't know that it doesn't mean that Trey Lance isn't going to be a good quarterback or as good a quarterback, but he's the quarterback. He's the CEO. You look around the league, and Spadoni and Giddings Inc. Did the research on it. I guess there's 28 teams that pick their captains ahead of time. 26 of the 28 teams, the starting quarterback is one of the captains. And the one that's not out of those 28 is Seattle, which okay, that makes sense.
Wait, which 2 teams? Now I'm curious, which 2 teams
It's the
don't
Niners
have
and
captains?
Seattle.
Seahawks.
No, but no, who
There's
don't have
4
captains?
teams that do it week. They do a week by week.
Okay.
They were Baltimore, Houston, Dallas, and I'm blanking on the other one.
Yeah.
That's more than I knew, but I tell you what.
Cleveland.
Well, that'd be interesting, right? Did Jacoby Brissett? Is he a captain?
I'll bet he probably
what do you
is
do
on
week
Sunday,
12?
though.
What do you do week 12? So here's the research I did, because that's 2022 research, and that's good. But I also think in a situation like this, you got to go backwards. And I did. I spent some time on the internet last night teaching myself about NFL captains.
Nice.
Because how long has this been a thing? Turns out it's about 20 years. It's only about 20 years that the NFL even started talking about captains. And you're right, JD, other teams, every team does it a little bit differently. And some teams have 10 captains and some only have 4. And so that already kind of throws a wrench into whether or not this is a problem, because everybody does the whole thing differently. But I wanted to know specifically 49er quarterbacks through the years, how often are they always a team captain? I found one piece of information that for me ended this entire conversation. After a 5-game win streak and a contract handed to him that made him the highest paid player in the National Football League, and he was a veteran, Jimmy Garoppolo, on opening day 2018, not a captain.
Really?
Not a captain. That team didn't vote Jimmy and his $27 million a year as the quarterback and the savior. Remember the excitement at that time.
Yep.
Not a captain.
Yeah.
Because these groups look at who are the elder statesmen who have been in this locker room for a long time. And if you look at the 6 guys who were named captains yesterday, it's obvious. It's obvious. Those are the dudes. This kid's 22. He's 22 years old.
How many rookies were captains last year? Is Trevor Lawrence a captain with Jacksonville?
I think so.
Don't know.
Yeah, but
Don't know.
Zach Wilson?
Willard, you didn't tell me
all
about
of
captain
those-
research. You need the answers to this.
I think all those
I
guys
didn't do
that
the Jags.
started
I did not
immediately
do the
were
Jags.
captain.
I did not do the Jags. You're right. So more research needed.
No, I just
I'll do it on the plane to Chicago tomorrow.
You heard what Playmaker said, right?
Yes.
Playmaker yesterday.
Yeah. Actually,
David
I did.
Arado.
I did. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you basically, here's what he said.
Well, I was never a captain. I've never got named a captain. It doesn't mean that you're not a leader or that you can't lead. It's just, it's what it is.
Yep.
The guys understand. Hey, Trey Lance is a young guy. He's learning. He's coming through the ropes and everything. They want him to worry about him. Don't worry about captaining the whole team. You get yourself ready and get yourself right to play. He's a young quarterback. This has no bearing whatsoever.
But here's the thing. Not surprising, right? Irvin wasn't named a
all
captain.
due respect to the playmaker, but
however, when I go back and when I remember those Cowboy teams in the 90s, Aikman, Emmett, Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin up and down the sideline, pumping up his team, the emotional leader. Always looked at him like, damn, he's one of their guys.
Yeah,
he's one of the dudes.
Ken Norton. I mean, you think about a lot of this is you're going to have some on both sides of the ball. Again, I will bet anything anyone wants that Trey Lance is going to be a captain on this team next year.
Yeah.
He hasn't played.
Right.
He's 22 years old, and the 6 guys that did get named are just have leadership and experience oozing off of them.
Jaworski Tart said earlier today on our show, he said, it doesn't mean anything. We got captains, leaders throughout the locker room.
We didn't even know that how many people, right?
So why is it a thing? Why is it such a big deal for fans?
Well, because there's such a
quarterback.
Because there's such a focus on Trey. And look, I'll admit, it really surprised me. And they've got a murderer's row of captains.
Right.
I think we can all agree on that in terms of leadership and quality dudes. But there was something that I was trying to noodle through yesterday when I was in with for Steiny with Guru, and it's not nothing that the rest of that locker room didn't think of him in the ilk as the starting quarterback with all the attention that he's gotten. It's just and then that's even that part. Voted 7th. Well, they've had 7 in the past. You can have 7, and then it's
you can have 20 if you want.
Throw him on there.
I wanted
do whatever
6,
you want.
I could have cheated.
He clearly didn't care, but just clearly didn't care. But just throw him on there.
Yeah, but I also think people looked at this and thought that this was some sort of an honor bestowed upon them by the coaching staff. This is just a vote. It's just a team vote, and who's going to vote Trey Lance a captain over Trent Williams? Who's doing that?
Yeah.
Those teammates aren't going to do that. It doesn't even make any sense. right?
Well, the
George Kittle,
odd man out
Fred
was
Warner.
Bosa, right? He was the one that's brand new to this thing. I mean, we said we can't even name the 6 captains from last year. Well, we can name 5 of them, and then the other one was Jimmy Garoppolo.
A perfect example. How's Nick Bosa not a captain last year? Was he not one of the best players? Was he not the guy on defense?
Torn ACL.
But he's a pup.
And he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't. When I think Nick Bosa, I don't think he exudes leadership.
Right.
If anything, I think that the parts, like, we can quibble about what we all think Trey Lance is going to be to varying degrees as a player.
Right.
But I think the one thing that everybody consistently has agreed on, whether it's us yakking or whether it's the coaching staff or even the other players, it's that Trey comes off as a leader. And he says the right things, and he has it. So that, I guess it just took me, like, I thought it was just a no-brainer. Like, Trey's going to be a captain. So when it hit me a little different when he wasn't.
Buster Posey, captain, right, of those Giants teams?
Like, Steph Curry's a captain. Forget about how well he plays.
Right.
Just the attitude.
They don't say, like, Steph Curry's gotten a little more boisterous as he's gotten older. But early on, like, everybody said, oh, Draymond's a leader. Steph's always been the leader. Always been the captain. Buster Posey didn't say a lot. But he was always the captain, right? Just kind of understated, went about his business.
Well, yeah,
he was the captain.
I think locker rooms,
probably the perfect
captain. We just watched it die.
Hey, locker rooms need multiple kinds of leaders. They need the quiet ones, they need the loud ones, they need the positive ones, they need the negative ones. You know, with the Lakers, I remember Steve Nash at the end of his career when he played on the Lakers saying, I have to go around this locker room and play good cop. Because Kobe's got bad cop taken care of, right? I can't. This team doesn't need that, and so Nick Bosa can be quiet, just like watch me go get 16 sacks, take my lead, and everything feeds off of that. Fred Warner can be the guy that gets in your face or whatever.
That Comcast Business Text line brought up a great point. You think back to the Showtime Lakers, and they call Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the captain. But in our minds, I think everybody in here would say, well, Magic was the leader of those teams.
Of course,
Magic ran Showtime vocally. But Kareem didn't say anything. He wasn't talking.
But there's a presence.
There is a presence.
Yeah, I just think
Kareem was there first.
He was there first.
I think this is exhibit 58, if you will, that this is just how it's going to be for Trey Lance now. It doesn't matter what happens. We're going to overreact. And that's for the good, for the bad, and the other. This guy is in a situation that I don't think I've ever seen before in the history of the NFL, where not only are you taking over a big-time team, you came out of what was called the biggest quarterback draft in recent memory. You're joining a Super Bowl-ready team. You're replacing a famous person now. This is a big name in NFL circles. Your team's been to the NFC title game 2 of the last 3 years. You had a whole year to sit, which top draft, like all of these things. And then we get to the season and your big name backup is still here. And oh, by the way, week 1, you're playing the guy you passed.
Right.
You passed on him.
And it might be the easiest game on your schedule.
Might be. This is just a stew that we have never had a bite of before. And so, quite frankly, we can't deal with it.
You know,
that's what that said to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Trey Lance has given every 49er fan, I think, plenty of reasons to like him. Like, he's professional, very affable and all that. But this dude is bringing back the word bozo, and I'm all about it. All about it. He said they don't have any bozos as captains. I'm like, if you're bringing back the word bozo, we don't say the word bozo enough anymore.
Bozo.
Yeah, he could have said that, a bozo or a jabroni, something like that, although jabroni's used every now and then. But bozo, if he can bring back the word bozo, I'm all in on Trey Lance now. All in.
We could do that with each player we see. Bozo or Bosa. And Bosa means good, and Bozo means bad. We can do that if that's a segment if you want, Steven. You can use that.
Kyle,
5:18 every morning.
Kyle just got in my ear and said that Eric Branch asked the question and said Bozo in the question. So I guess it's Eric Branch.
Thanks for ruining it, Kyle. Bozo. Yeah, we had something good going.
I don't like Trey Lance anymore. Start Jimmy week 1.
Just ruins the show. What other angles you guys taking today on?
No, I mean, we're going to get into this because JD, this is great because JD was with Guru yesterday, and I know that it got going about the whole captaincy. So I'd love to hear from fans on that as to whether or not they think it's a big deal or not. We'll be in Bears country a bunch. My buddy Matt Spiegel at AM 670 The Score is going to be on. Former Bear Corey Wooten's going to be on, and it's it's day one.
It's day one.
It's day one.
By the way, real quick before we get out of here, who would be the captain in 95-7 game?
I love your
But he
poll
gets
question.
look.
Guru.
I voted for Spinelli.
Guru?
I think Guru would be unequivocally, if like had a point system, I think he'd be at the top.
Yeah, we have a poll up right
But
now.
if you got so put Guru in like the 49er style captaincy where there are 6 of them. We just said you need multiple kinds of leaders.
Sure.
What kind of leader is Guru? What role is he playing?
Well, we have a poll up right now, and Ray Rattle would be the captain, according to the poll.
God, I hate that guy.
Yeah, but
He
who
would
came
decline.
up?
Guru's coming in third.
Who came up with the poll? Who came
Seb
up with who
loved
made?
it.
Yeah,
Seb
who-
loved it.
I mean, like, how come there's only 4
JD
people?
got a lot of love.
Yep.
JD got a lot of love for
Yep.
being the captain.
No, if this is going to be like a players vote, and we have the employees here at 95.7 vote, Guru probably would be the number one. You're right, JD. I think Guru would get a lot of
Guru
votes
comes up short,
as a captain.
Joffrey.
Guru's a
Comes up short.
Draymond. He's a Draymond type leader. It's just all emotion all the time. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be out of control sometimes. It's not based on rationale. It's just based on energy and in your face. And we need that here. We need one of those.
And
We're not going to get 2 of them.
likability,
We need
too.
one of them.
Like, it's likability.
That's true.
I think
Likability
is a
That's
big
true.
part of that.
Likability issues.
That's different than Draymond. But yes.
Like, we all have our styles. We all have
Right.
things we like, we don't like. We all can mix it up, get into it about different sports topics or whatever. But I think Guru's the one just above everybody where no matter what, you're like, yes, I like that dude. He can put him at the top.
Only because I was frying some eggs this morning. It was actually already done. Taking Penny on her walk and having her do her business. I was frying some eggs this morning and heard you guys' conversation about Shohei Ohtani. And I just
why you got to do this. I was about to leave, Mark.
I
was
know.
about to leave.
That's exactly why I did it. I'm like, you're not going anywhere.
Did you pick up the poop?
I did. I had already done it, and
Pick up
and
the
then
poopy.
and again they've over medium and some chicken meatballs with it. It was delicious.
Ooh.
Yeah, really good, and some sautéed spinach. And then here we go with let's give up Kyle Harrison for Shohei Ohtani. I don't want you to think that I think Kyle Harrison in a vacuum isn't worth anything is worth giving up for Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
The problem with this is sort of administrative, if you will. Like Shohei Ohtani, you made the statement at one point. I don't want to get him now. I don't want to compete with the Dodgers for him next year. You are either way.
Yeah.
He's a free agent at the end of the year.
No doubt.
So that makes him a rental. And JD made a great point, which is not even a normal rental because a normal rental comes in July when you know you're actually going for a title. So you bring in your rental to get you over the top. The Giants are 0-0 next year.
Yeah.
We don't even know if they're any good.
Yeah, you might get him and be the Angels.
Right.
And then you gave up Harrison, and then he's like, deuces.
Look, I'm just trying to figure out where do you start with the Giants?
To me,
I don't even know where you start.
Take the name Harrison off of it.
Right.
Any baseball team, you don't give up prospect 1 for a rental.
Right.
I'm not doing that. I want Shohei for 7 years. I don't want him for 1. And that's the disaster. Like, you imagine they trade.
Take that. I would take that gamble.
But what's the
I'd roll the
gamble?
dice
Like,
because
you
I'm thinking about it too. You got to put some butts in the seats next year. You got to put some butts in the seats.
That's an expensive price to pay to just get a few tickets sold. Give up your number 1 prospect.
It's box office.
It's interesting. Last night. As I'm prone to do. I went down, got in the hot tub for a little bit.
Nice,
right?
Too hot.
And sometimes I'll just get lost. I'll have a little have a little beverage, adult beverage, and I'll just start.
Sounds like a great night.
Going through. I'll just start going through just things that pop into my mind. Maybe I'll get on YouTube a little bit. I'll relax. And the game that I brought up last year, and it applies to this, was the opening day game from 1993, the Giants opener, which was and I watched probably to about the third inning of it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get out of here.
This is amazing.
And it was
What were you
after
drinking?
the
I
team
want
had
the
been
full- so
saved.
you-
I grabbed the White Claw.
Okay,
I grabbed
you're
the White Claw. I grabbed a couple of White
hot
Claws.
tub, watching 1993
just
opener.
relaxing.
Who were they playing?
They're playing the Marlins.
The Giants and Marlins. Okay.
Yeah, first year of the Marlins.
What a win.
First year the Marlins and the Rockies.
Yeah,
Those
and-
great teal hats.
And so I was watching the game, and it was Barry Bonds' first home game at Candlestick, and he hit a home run, and they ended up winning the game in a walk-off.
I was
and
at
all
the game.
that.
I was there.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So, but it was to your point, it was the vibe, and I know the team had just been saved from going to Tampa and all that, but it was a full Candlestick on that day, which didn't happen a lot,
Nope.
in that time. And it was Bonds got his MVP award from the Pirates the year before, and Willie Mays was on the field. as his godfather, and but there was an energy to it, and they still had Will Clark, and they still had Matt Williams, and they still
Bobby Thompson.
They still had those guys, but it was
and he hit one into the family pavilion.
Yes, this is a new
family pavilion by then.
Right.
This is a new era of you got the biggest star in the game at that point, and you kind of needed to, and that's one area where I think over the last 2 months I wanted to see it play out. It hasn't played out well.
No.
And to your point, I mean, they do feel like they need an infusion of something to bridge what's no longer and the watching that game in the tub, with a couple of claws.
I get it.
And this is something I've been on all season. It's not just getting a star, because one star's not going to help you win games. This team needs players.
Mm-hmm.
They need a couple more starters. They need bullpen. They need an entire new outfield, for crying out loud. This outfield stinks. But you got to get the buzz with the Giants. I've never felt lower about the Giants other than the post-Bonds year, but you knew Lincecum was coming. You knew Kane was coming. You knew Bumgarner at some point, Posey. Right now, I don't know what's coming. I don't know who's next. I don't know what's next. I don't know where you start. I don't know the solution. I mean, they are...
No, it's all fair. I wonder how the building would have felt, though, if Bonds was on a one-year deal.
Would have felt great.
Would that have felt as exciting?
Would have felt pretty great for that day.
That
It
day.
felt great.
That day.
You imagine bringing Shohei?
Yeah, but again...
To walk up to that game and Shohei was playing at Oracle Park for the season opener?
And 2.5 months later, people are going, they need to sell him at the deadline because he's a free agent.
See, reasoning and rationale is most likely what's going to happen. I was not prepared for the Shohei Ohtani talk. I was ready to go into my free agency thing about how Trey Mancini and Xander Bogaerts need to be on this team. But then I was asked about Shohei, and when I hear, are you going to trade Kyle Harrison for Shohei without even looking at it? So I would.
Yeah.
So that was an initial reaction.
He was like, no, he's a local guy. I want to give him a look. I was like, I don't care where he's from. He could be from down the street.
It's not about Kyle Harrison. It's about I'm not like I don't want 1 year of Shohei.
No doubt.
Like I want 7. I want 7.
Well, and the other part is
I'm
to give you a little hope, Bonte. I don't think they're necessarily as far. Like it doesn't look like they're close, but I think 2021 does show you that they're probably not as far from being competitive again or good again.
They compete.
I agree with that.
You can go from 75 wins to 88 wins, and I think we would feel a little better about it.
But
you're not going 88-win team.
You're not going 32-6 against the Diamondbacks and Rockies anymore.
No.
Diamondbacks are looking.
That's why you're going to win 88, not 107.
Right. And you got the extra playoff spot, and we'll see where the Brewers. Somebody's going to fall off in the National League, but the staying power of the National League. Dodgers, Braves, Cardinals, Mets. They're not; those 4 teams aren't going anywhere.
But there's still spots to be had.
There's still spots to be had. Philly's going to try to make some moves, but we don't really believe in Philly. Padres
Philly get Aaron Judge.
Padres. Y'all see they booed Juan Soto last night? They're booing him already.
Really?
Yeah. And he's
they haven't been good.
2 for his last 28.
And he hasn't been good.
2 for his last 28.
Josh Bell's been just as bad.
And then he left the game hurt.
Oh, that's not going to... That's
brutal.
I'm like, wait a minute. San Diego fans, you have one team. You have one team, you have a Cool City Connect jersey, and it's a party in the stands every night, and you ran victory laps when you got this guy, and 3.5 weeks later... Are you
booing Sean Manaea?
You're booing it? Well, he deserves it.
Blake Snell? Josh Hader?
We keep getting jealous about the Padres and forgetting it's not working. Everything they're doing is not working. The Dodgers are sitting on them. So, interesting.
They're going to get in the playoffs, though.
They will get in there.
I think. Yeah. I think they're going to get in.
And they can make some noise. We'll see.
They're
how much noise?
They're 4 up on Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's going to
Milwaukee's not looking good at all. So it'll be interesting what the Giants can do. Who's going to be managing the team? Like, I know here JD, I know how he feels about Kyle.
All right, who we get? So you think the Bills are going to blow them out? Bonte, what do you got tonight? What do you think is going to happen?
I think the Rams. Oh, man. I like the Rams. I'm going to go with the home dog.
Okay. All right.
I think that's a tough game to pick.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be a dandy.
It is.
Lay the points with the Bills. Trust me.
2.5.
Trust you.
I like the Bills by field goal.
I don't trust you at all. Not even a little bit.
There'll be a lot of fun. You guys have fun. We'll be listening up until high noon. And don't forget, Willard and JD, brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer. Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection at their primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible.